Do that.
Okay.
All right. Well, we will move on. No, it's not James. Oh, of course, now the clicker's not
It
working.
has been fun to see it grow. It's like the first day there was like one person, and I think Monday there were like 11 to 12 people. So it's growing.
Okay. There we go. Sharon.
Everybody
Megan's
straighten
not
up.
here. She in Disney World. With Mickey
Uh-huh.
Mouse.
Sit up straight.
Just so y'all know, the cycle, the ethics, we gotta have it by the end of this year. Y'all got 3 months left. Please, oh please, oh please, don't wait until December 31st to try to go get a class. It's not happening. So make sure you get that. That'll be the end of the cycle, then it'll start all over again.
And there's 2 different classes, right? There's one that counts as CE and
I'm
one
the
that.
work in charge.
I know, I'm asking. Teach
What?
us. There's one class that counts as continuing education and one class that does not, that only counts as ethics for NAR. Is that right?
I don't know. No, I'm joking. Yes,
Explain
you can
it.
take a class, and if it says ethics on it, then it counts. Okay, but it has to be sent to your board. So don't email me and ask me if you satisfied it. Contact the board.
You can do it online
Yep.
and, it will not count for CE,
Right.
but you can do it online.
Or you can do it through one of the real estate schools and it
That
can count for
teaches
CE and count for ethics, and then you just have to send it to the board.
Yeah, but make sure you're sending it to the Raleigh board, and you can look it up, log in, and you'll see your ethics has been completed. The only time I'm contacted is when it's not completed, okay? So make sure you do that. TMLS was nice and beautiful to us and decided not to charge us $150 for the last quarter, but it is due at the end of the year for the next quarter,
Yep.
okay? Make sure y'all do it. Y'all get so many emails from where people are not doing it. And last session, CE and all that stuff, there were some people actually missed it. Had to take classes for it. Big people, okay? Make sure, not calling any names, but yes. And just want to make sure I'm receiving a lot of calls from your clients about lack of communication. Okay?
Ghost.
If you have a client who has signed an agency agreement with you, they should not be calling me to reach you, okay? Unless y'all gonna give me a referral? No, okay.
What's the biggest complaint when NAR does surveys about real estate agents? What's the biggest complaint the public has about us?
Communication.
Lack of communication.
So I've had a tremendous amount in the last 2 weeks from agents that I know should be answering your phone.
Can I say one more thing? Bigger picture? There are disruptors getting into our business right now,
Yes.
right? So that people that say what they're saying, what they're telling their investors on Wall Street is that the home buying and selling process is a very poor customer experience, and they can fix that problem by removing us from the process. So just that's part of why these iBuyers and direct buyers and things like that are able to get a foothold in right now, because it eliminates that problem completely for them. They don't have to communicate with anybody.
So
So
you just gotta pick up, text them, say, hey, I'm busy, gotta do something. Or if you're going out of town, find someone who can help you so that they can reach out to them, because having an email that kicks back and say, reach your broker in charge is not gonna work. I do have one agent that every time I send her email, it kicks back, say, just reach out to Sharon Something, she'll help you.
it is funny. I get it. So when I send an email out to everybody, I get that kickback.
She's like, yeah, if you can't reach me, reach Sharon Something. Everybody know I'm always on little trips, so I don't know how to go get me. And the last thing I want to talk about is, remember the September 1st was, you had to start using new forms. Make sure you're not using the old one unless the contract was already in effect before September 1st. Everything should say at the bottom of those pages, 7/20/21, okay?
What should I do if I have a listing and an agent from a different company sends an offer on an old form to me?
Well, you should tell them you need to send it to me. Okay, because it's null and void. It's not the right form. And it's nothing worse if you're an agent and you feel like you're very professional to have to contact your clients and say, you signed the wrong form. I need you to re-sign everything.
I received one once from 2007. 2007.
2007.
2 years ago.
And the other thing is, I do want to mention that like this morning, we had a kind of like a couple people were freaking out about not getting in the DocuSign and not being able to access the forms. There is zip forms, which is free to us. We pay for it with our dues. Log into that and don't make your clients wait because of technology is not working with one thing, okay? Please, oh please, just go to zip forms, sign up for it, it's free. And then you can do your paperwork, get them to sign it, drop it in the DocuSign and get it electronically signed, okay? Because believe it or not, I would much rather get all these nice calls that y'all are doing a great thing, but you know, they never call whenever y'all doing a great thing, only when they have an issue. Which is
Once in
not
a while,
often.
but it's like 100-to-1
I
ratio.
know, so I'm always gonna advocate for y'all, but I'm always wanting to hear both sides of the story. And then somewhere in the middle is the truth, okay? So I try to be, you know, I am y'all advocate, but I have to listen to both sides of the story. And since I got cussed out yesterday, I definitely want to hear the other side of the story. But that's it. Any other questions for me? Any gift cards?
You gotta be nice to that.
So Sharon's right, though. I mean, the way for us to keep these disruptors from getting into our business is to provide an exceptional customer experience, communicate really well, and stay in touch with our database. That's really, those are the best weapons we have. And really, at the end of the day, they're the only weapons that we have, so.
So poor communications is a major complaint about commercial agents. as well.
Tell us about it.
You're not alone, but it's about the easiest way that you can differentiate yourself from your competitors by just making yourself available. I can't tell you how many times people have thanked me for, or said something like, I can't believe you're the first person to return my call. You know, it's so easy to do that. So just keep that in mind. So new developments. This has been on the drawing for a while, but it's actually parts of it are about to open. It's Fenton in Cary. And that's the big development behind Carytown Center, between the back of that center and I-40. There's going to be a big retail office hotel complex. And they've just signed a entertainment and sports concept called Sports and Social. It's kind of like Dave and Buster's all on steroids. It's going to be a two-story thing. That's one of the major announcements they're going to have back there. Secondly, did anybody know there was still a Sears open on the Triangle?
Where?
Well, it's going to close pretty soon.
They're all.
I thought they were all closed already, but apparently the one at Triangle Town Center was still open, and they're about to close. So I was shocked that there was still one up. If you see a Kmart, that's pretty unusual too. But, along the lines of you're reading everybody labor shortages and what have you, here's another thing that's happening. For example, Harris Teeter just announced they're closing all their stores 2 hours early on a daily basis. So instead of 11, it's 9 or something like that at night. And that's just to give the staff, you know, they're short of staff, enough time to restock and keep the store looking good for the next day. But you're going to be seeing more of this happening. I mean, I just read something about a restaurant in Florida where the entire staff resigned on the same day because they were being overworked. So, of course, the management said that wasn't the case, but
Why do you think that's happening? Just curious.
labor shortage? Yeah. Well, I don't want to get too.
Yeah, just wondering.
I mean, I don't want to get into the political side of things, but I mean, there's like 10 million job openings in the country that people aren't filling right now. So I'm sure there's a variety of reasons for that. Okay, we've talked about referrals and stuff like that in the past. The commercial group did issue a $12,000 referral check. That's the good news last month. The bad news is it went to a different office. But we'd love to be sending that money and keeping it inside. So these things do happen, they're real, and keep your eyes and ears open. you might come across an opportunity like that, that one of the commercial agents can convert and pay you back for.
And I will say from personal experience, unlike a lot of commercial brokers in the country, these folks do answer their calls. I don't think any of them play golf. You don't play golf, do you?
Yes, I do.
Do you?
Wanna play some golf?
No.
I do check emails on the golf course. So lastly, I had a little trouble relating this to commercial real estate, but and it's about beer. And I figured that if you go to a bar or restaurant, you might order beer, so that's the connection to commercial real estate. Any beer lovers out there? Show of hands. Sure. Okay. You all have heard of Sam Adams?
Yeah.
Okay. Has anybody heard of a brand called Utopias?
Yeah. Is there new one?
Okay. It's not their new one, but they kind of, yeah. Every 2 years, they come out with a limited production run of this beer called Utopias. The alcohol content is 28%.
Oh my God.
How much is it for 1 year?
They only make 13,000 bottles per year for every 2 years. You can't buy it in North Carolina because it's 5 times more potent than the legal limit of beer. But if you go to the right state, you can buy a bottle for $240.
Good God.
What's the right state?
You can check the alcohol. So that's the interesting beer back in the day.
Wow.
Any other questions?
Gary, I have a question.
Yep.
If you're a real estate agent, residential, can you sell a church if you're residential?
I mean, you can, you increase the risk to yourself by not knowing what to do, but
Would you consider that commercial?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, what will the new use be?
That's the question.
Yeah, that'd be the question, but would you want to do it?
Like you identify as a condo builder.
I mean, if you're doing it for somebody who wants to build apartments on the property or houses, I mean, maybe it's buying land, but if you're doing it for churches, I mean, I don't know. It's a question for you, really. Do you want your agents?
Real estate commission for it's commercial.
A church's
Special
commer-
use, and if you're changing the use, then it's land use change.
Yeah, I mean, I think the office has some general policies about that kind of stuff.
I mean, when you think about commercial real estate, there are some pitfalls and things that are just different. You know, we start getting into sometimes, you know, environmental impact studies and all kinds of things where somebody could buy a property, not understand that they didn't get X, Y, or Z done on the front end, and now it's got to be done on the back end, or a retention pond was too small, now it's got to be re-engineered and rebuilt, and there's tens of thousands of dollars. So there are just other parts to that business that are very different than selling houses. So Chris, man, could probably tell us some very scary stories. It's going to be Halloween time soon. Probably freak me out.
Listen, like for churches, if you have a church client, a buyer that's a church, I can take this off now. I'm talking. You don't want to go into that without understanding the structure of the church, right? Because if it's a congregational church and you're just talking to the pastor and you sign a contract with the pastor, it's not even a valid contract. So don't get into the church business as an agent unless you know really what you're doing.
All right, thanks.
Get some help. Want to worry about it, that's awesome. We've got a way that you can do it and be protected and protect yourself and your client. All right, Art.
Well, compliance has been another busy month.
The man behind the curtain.
Lots of files for me to
Boss.
review. Lots of different things that have come up this month. I thought I'd just mention to you, if you don't understand something, which form to use or how to do the transaction, as long as you allow me a little bit of time, send me a question. I'd rather answer the question than use the wrong form. Like use residential property disclosures instead of commercial forms for that. Okay, I'll call it, that doesn't exist, but for instance, on the professional services disclosure form, be sure you use the residential professional services form. You're expected to know how to use the right forms. Also, when you get comments back from me, That's not an endeavor to be critical of what you're doing. It's just to correct you to be sure that you're doing the right thing and that we're reducing your liability as well as the liability for the firm. That's why I do what I'm doing. So don't take it personal if I write you back and say, we need a buyer agency agreement for you. Okay. Or yes, you really do need a working with real estate agents disclosure in this transaction. Okay, some of the key things, some of the things that I've been noticing a lot are, since we've moved to new forms, if you're taking a listing, please fill in a marketing date under paragraph 10. There's a lot more places that your client has to sign the document. Under paragraph 9 as an example, they have to acknowledge that we're not allowed to discriminate, and they aren't either. That needs to initial for your clients there. Secondly, like I said, in paragraph 10, there's a blank now that instead of being the effective date of the contract on page 1, like it used to be, you now have to put a marketing date. Well, that's the effective date of your listing. But you do have to put a date in for when the listing is going to be able to be marketed. If that's blank, you can't market the property legally. Okay. So again, be sure you fill in the blanks. Look at all of the stuff that you need. I'm still getting, speaking of that, under your agency agreement, under buyer agency agreements, paragraph 14 has a D and it has an E. Under D, your client gets to choose whether they want exclusive representation or whether they will approve dual agency. Under E, they can choose designated dual. If you're going to have exclusive, then you don't have dual and you don't have designated. If you give me all 3 of them, or none of them, you have no agency agreement. And so you'll get a little note back from me, please fill in this. Now, to correct anything with your agency agreements, you want to change a date, you want to do something, just use Form 710. It's an agreement to amend agency. And about the middle of the page on 710, it says other. And you got a bunch of blanks there. You can change anything you want there on your agency agreement. If you mislabeled and only checked under E and asked for designated and left D blank, just fix it with Form 710. Say client desires both dual and designated dual. Or fix it by saying buyer only wants exclusive, if that's what you change it to. Same with commission can be changed there. Just about anything you need to change to an agency agreement can be done there. If you list a property, you must put it in the MLS within 48 hours now?
20, I thought it was 24.
Yeah, you're probably right, 24.
And they changed that.
Okay, and if you're not going to put it in the MLS, you have 2 options. One of them is the office exclusive, no cooperation, office exclusive form. And that means you're not going to put it in the MLS at all. And it is a private listing for this office only. No other agent can show it. And you might even have a problem taking an offer from another, someone that just out of the blue sends you an offer. If that happens, quickly pull out Form 710 and change your status, okay, in the MLS. But you can use the no cooperation if you're not going to put it in the MLS for a long period of time. You can also use the coming soon form. Both of those are TMLS forms. Okay, the coming soon can only last 30 days maximum. But there's an easier way to handle that. Put your marketing date out 2-3 weeks. You do not have to submit anything to me on the listing side until the marketing date is come. And then we like to see them within 72 hours. And the reason is, yesterday I was caught up the day before, and yesterday I reviewed 65 files. Okay. And I teach real estate, pre-licensing, I teach CE, I do real estate, And so I stay quite busy and I'm happy to help, but it's going to help you get paid at the end of the transaction if you give stuff to not only me, but also to Jeremy, as far as your commission requests. So that when it comes to closing, it doesn't take us 3, 4, 5, 6 days to get everything in the files that's needed, so you can get paid. Okay, yes.
What is your thought on if you're gonna do a delayed marketing date and it's 30 days out and they're not sure if they're gonna make renovations? What about TBD and for price?
No TBD and no
Okay.
price TBD, because it specifically says in the guidelines, a client should not sign a document where they do not know how much they're getting or how much they're getting paid.
Chris, does that make it where it's not really a valid contract? If you don't have if we sign a listing agreement, we don't really have a price in there.
I don't know that it would not be valid, but you would be setting yourselves up for a fight that you don't want to set yourself up for.
Right.
Like, don't ever put yourself in a position to possibly lose out on something like that, like to create an ambiguity. Just,
Put a high number in.
Yeah.
If you're not marketing it, and then use Form 710 and change the price before you put it on the market, before you.
So we have to use form, because usually what I do is just cross it out and then have them redate it.
Then you have
And we
redated
signal.
your document.
Oh.
That's especially important on a contract in some cases, I believe.
Well, but it's not on an offer, but I'm just doing it on a listing agreement,
Yeah, I'll take that.
moving that date out.
I would take that.
Can I ask a question real quick? So at the Capper Mastermind last month, we talked about office exclusives was one of the things we talked about. And, you know, we're one of the largest firms in the Triangle. So there are 2,000 real estate offices in the Triangle. We're number 5, I think, right now. So we have some power. Would you guys, do you have clients, do you think you would be interested in having that as an option where your client could list a property as an office exclusive? And it would only be available to be, it's not a pocket listing, it's the firm's listing, right? And the only people that could show it would be agents of the firm. My understanding, is that right?
Correct.
So it wouldn't be for everybody, right? And I do have a personal belief about that. I mean, I think the best thing for the seller is always the full market, but there can be some reasons to do this. Is that something you'd be interested? Just show me, like, if you would be interested in having that as an option to do an office exclusive, raise your hand. Like, you want the ability to do it.
Well, it's nice to have the ability, but
Okay.
I don't know if it's in the best interest of the seller.
Right, they just need to understand that, right? That there might be other ways.
Unless you're doing a cash sale and they recognize they're giving up equity for convenience.
Right.
And you would also have to look at how many cross sales do we have in this office.
Well, one reason to do it could be to test a higher price, right? So I might list it with just your office at a slightly higher price, see if one of your agents has a buyer for it. You know, if somebody's out there looking, and then if we go on that less, I understand I might lower the price or something like that, so.
Well, I think one time I had talked to Art about the office exclusive because I was trying to figure out something and what he was saying I couldn't do. But he said one way to use it is for the Keller Offers. Is a good way to use, you know, to do that first. So you get them to sign the contract and then submit the Keller offer. And then if they don't like the Keller offer, change it.
Open it up to the office at that point.
Yeah.
Or you could do it simultaneously, couldn't you?
Yes.
Have Keller Offers.
You need a
Maybe they're
listing, you need a
offer.
listing agreement to do Keller Offers.
Right.
Because you're advertising. the property.
So could you list it in that regard as an office exclusive and then also check with Keller Offers, farm it out to them, and then be advertising it as an office exclusive at the same time?
Yes,
Okay, so that might be a reason.
you gotta have the form.
Right, that might be. a reason.
In the same note, if you have a seller that already has a buyer, they don't pay your work, is that office exclusive?
Oh, be very careful. Dual agency being one agent, both sides, very risky. Very risky. I would recommend in that situation that you take the listing, do a listing agreement, and have the buyer be unrepresented. Work with the buyer as a sub-agent of the seller, but do not represent the buyer.
Okay.
Now, you still get paid both sides, and the risk is less. Or refer the buyer out. That's what I typically do. I did a transaction, and I use this in my classes that I teach, but I did a transaction 8, 10, 12 years ago. I had two very close friends. The one listed a property and the friend came along and wanted me to submit an offer. I talked to the seller. I clearly explained that, hey, if this happens, all I'm doing is facilitating. What the seller says, I tell the buyer. What the buyer says, I tell the seller. I don't give my opinion. I don't give advice. I don't advocate. Still almost lost both friends.
Yeah.
Not over sale price, but over repairs.
Yep.
I don't do that anymore.
Yep.
If I have a buyer come along on my listing, I'll call one of you folks up. Say, hey, how'd you like to represent a buyer? Will you pay me, a referral fee?
It can be kind of a stressful thing to be in.
Oh, and
It's like
we
you
like
got
to,
two friends.
we like to
splitting up, getting
talk.
divorced, and you're like trying to be in the middle of that, It's like that.
And we all like to talk. And you got to understand, if you tell the seller something that hurts the buyer, you're in violation of license law, commission rule, and you put your license at risk. So it's a, dual agency with just one agent is risky. Now, we have a lot of dual agency transactions, I'll tell you this, within our office. We have a lot of buyer agents bringing buyers to our listings, which is great, right?
Well, that's, speaking of the office exclusive, another advantage of that, of course, is if you're working to get buyers to sign buyer agency agreements with you, there's a reason they might do that, is your office has exclusive listings, so. That'd be a reason to do that.
I have one, I think I've talked to Sharon about this. I have a client who is thinking of listing his home, but it has some cosmetic updates that need to happen. He doesn't want. And I've thought about Keller Offers, but to date, I've not gotten a real good.
How about the ready to sell program?
I haven't looked at that yet. I'm on the.
Does everybody know what that is? So Keller Offers has a program where they will actually come in and kind of fix up the house to help the seller sell it for more money, carpet, paint, etc. So it's part of the Keller Offers program.
But one of the things I was thinking of was doing an office exclusive, mainly because I don't want to put the house out there. If he does decide eventually, after testing the market within the office, and he doesn't get what he wants,
Right.
then he'll fix it up and put it on, and I don't want those pictures out on the.
That would be another reason.
Why don't you do broker open house?
Right,
Just
or caravan, where people go and look at the house and see if the.
Well,
You
we
get-
still have to have it listed to do that, so
Right.
that's where the office exclusive listing would come in. You could list it as an office exclusive with the 1970s kitchen and let you guys see if you have a buyer for it, and then if you don't, then he fixes it up.
Then, it fixes it up when we redo it.
I will tell you, it depends on price point with that.
Right.
Reviewing documents. As is selling well above list price. Under 4.
Yeah.
Particularly if you're in the $200 to $300 price point, 300,000 price point. I'm reviewing sales that are 110,000 above tax value, 150,000 above tax value. It's
I will
unbelievable
say, what
market.
I've noticed that the appraisals are starting to come down.
Yeah, the challenge is the appraisers are dropping.
Being recommended for putting all of this in here, so yeah, definitely.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, Art has a lot of market knowledge right now, who looks
I
at.
want to remind everybody that Art will be at some point at the end of the year, you did say you would do some.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a couple of CEs for a reduced rate. One scheduled November 29th. NC Radon is gonna be the instructor. I'm gonna be the facilitator for them. I'm thinking I'm only gonna charge $25 for the CE. And it will be on Zoom, November the 29th. I haven't started marketing or putting it together. All right, committed to them to do one in late November and one in January. So that will handle your 4-hour class.
Right.
And I'll do an update class in December or probably December. Maybe.
And the fee normally is like $60, $55, $60, he's going for $25.
I mean, I think that's what.
Well, I've been asked to think about doing it in-house here,
Yes.
which I'm happy to do, as long as we have like 15 people.
We have minimum of 15 people for the class.
Because I have to take $10 for every person that takes the class to the real estate.
All right, thank you, guys. All right, Chris Mann from Mann, McGivney and Jordan, thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Well, Art set me up because I'm going to talk about real quick the scariest and dumbest dual agency story we've ever had in the office. So if you're ever like thinking, you know,
It's
what, I
not
can-
this office though, right?
No.
Okay.
It's not. But if you're ever like, you know what, I can do both sides. This was an agent who has been around in Raleigh real estate since maybe the 60s. Like his name is on one of the firms. Like he's been doing this for a long time. And he sold $1 million house and the buyer came to him and he was like, sure, whatever, $2 million like commission, basically, I'll do that. And his seller owned 2 lots side by side. And 2 weeks after he got it under contract, the seller had a surveyor come out and resurvey it, move the lot line to take property away from the lot she was selling and give it to the lot next door. So that they had a contract and then they changed the property size, not insignificantly. And we of course found it like in a title search, we're like, she just recorded a plat like 2 days ago. And he actually has to go and like not advocate for either client in that situation. Like, you know, normally you'd go and yell at a listing agent, what is your client doing? And he was just like, I don't know what to tell y'all, but you got to figure it out. And we had to like step in and threaten the seller, and she basically undid everything. But man, listen to him when he says try to avoid doing dual agency. It is dangerous. But beyond that, I was actually going to talk a little bit about communication, because it is the biggest thing that we see causing issues with your clients, with you and your other agents you work with. And it all comes down often to not wanting to have like difficult conversations with people, which I get and I appreciate that. Like the example that I have is we had some folks go under contract. Well, the buyers sent the offer out. The buyer's agent sent the offer to the listing agent. You know, full price offer with $30,000 due diligence. Listing agent sends it to the seller. Seller says, sure, they sign it. Text and, you know, send the signed contract over to the buyer's agent. Congrats, we're under contract. And then the buyer's like, I changed my mind. I don't want this house. And y'all know, like, there's no way around that. Like, that's it. Like that buyer's under contract, they have to pay that $30,000. And the new contract really even makes that more firm that money is in. And I am sure that agent had had that conversation with their buyer about what this means. You know, you're going to go under contract, you have to pay no matter what, that $30,000 is gone. But the buyer was like, nope, I'm not buying it. I'm not writing you a check. I'm not doing anything. And instead of that buyer's agent immediately communicating to the listing agent, we have a problem, they just ignored the listing agent for days because they didn't know how to have that conversation. And it made a bad situation exponentially worse. It is, I compared to like when I was a kid, I sped a lot as a kid. I speed a lot now. But when I got that first speeding ticket when I was 16 years old, I didn't tell my mom because I thought that it would work itself out. It does not. It got worse. Yeah, because what I did not know then, and you guys all know it now, you live in North Carolina, is that they send you letters in the mail. And my mom got that first package of letters was addressed to me, and she opens one up and it's from a lawyer, and she's like, what have you done? And it's like that. Like if she had told that listing agent, like 2 hours later, like she got her client said he wasn't writing a check, no matter what she said, and said, hey, I'm really sorry, this is the situation. That listing agent could have gone back to the seller, you know, and dealt with it to get it back on the market as quickly as possible, to not have 4 days of that listing agent and that seller trying to figure out what was going on. But that's what they did. She didn't know what to do. Just communicate. Like, even if you don't like it, if it's not the answer you want. If you know your client, your client isn't going to be ready by closing day, don't wait till the day before closing. Like, I do not understand why agents want sometimes to do that. Call that listing agent as far out in advance as you can and say, listen, I know that we have the 12th is the day, lender's not going to be ready, or their money's not going to be here, or whatever. We're like aiming for the 14th. Because you don't want a seller having their house packed up, ready to go,
Or stuff sitting on the truck.
or stuff sitting on the truck, and that's when they find out. Like, always communicate as early as you can to avoid, like, if your client is the asshole and that happens, that's fine. Like, that happens. Like, we know that. Like, there's a certain percentage of people that are just gonna be hard on you and everybody else. But don't let that be you in that situation, like, by delaying.
Surprises aren't good.
Yeah. And you guys will probably see this in the back of this is in the same vein. If you are in a bad situation, don't be sneaky. Do not be sneaky. You're gonna see this in the back of the bulletin in the next month or 2 or 3, where an agent wanted to terminate and get back due diligence, and the listing agent was like, we're not giving you back due diligence. And so they photoshopped the termination form, the standard realtor.
Again, not this office, right?
Not this office. You will recognize the name. And instead of just sending in the form with the release of due diligence and earnest money and letting them say no, they photoshopped the release of termination with release of earnest money and added in it to look exactly the same release of earnest money and due diligence. Because the agent recognized the form, knew what the form was, and it was the release of earnest money form, let their client sign it. And then the buyer's agent's like, where's our due diligence? And they're like, that's not the termination we signed. And she was like, yeah, it is. Go read it again. I do not know why that buyer's agent thought that was going to work. I do not know why she thought she could get away with it. When this all happened, and the seller actually reported their own agent to the commission, because, like, why did you let me sign this thing? And as soon as the commission got it, the commission on their own filed a grievance against the buyer's agent for doing that. And the listing agent's off the hook. The listing agent didn't actually, according to the commission, didn't do anything wrong, because you should be able to rely on those forms without reading.
Then you know the form, you know the.
Right, like, you shouldn't have to read every line of the boilerplate of 2T to worry that somebody photoshopped it. And that's the commission's perspective on that. But between the clients, between the buyer and seller, it's an effective form. Like, have to give back your due diligence. And E&O is going to pay for it. E&O is going to sue the buyer's agent and get it from the buyer's agent. But nobody's going to be that egregious. It's so dumb that, like, why would anybody do it? But in any situation where you're like, I could say this or do this and be maybe a little bit deceptive, just don't do it.
And people didn't do this kind of stuff as much when due diligence
Right.
was worth $1,000. Now that they're $50,000 and $100,000.
Nobody's suing anybody over $1,500, but they are suing people over $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And it's becoming like, I'm keeping a litigation attorney in business right now, referring every angry buyer and seller to them and saying they're fighting over due diligence, they're fighting over earnest money, sellers refusing to sign and sell. I'm just like, talk to this guy, because it's much more litigious right now because of due
The
diligence.
amounts of the money.
Only other thing I've got is KWYP is doing an event on Friday at Bond Brothers. If you guys want to come, you can. Megan is not here this week. She's in KWYP. She's a part of it, but you can reach out to, I can actually get you some names of everybody.
Patrick
Patrick Madigan, Kate Carlton is another. It's like it's at lunchtime. We're just gonna actually sort of talk about things that agents do that get them in trouble.
I think Katie Lynham here in our office.
Yeah. So, and if you guys want to come to that, reach out to any of those agents in KWYP.
You're under 40.
And if people don't, okay, you can be 40.
I'll go join the Raleigh Rack 40.
I am confident that anybody can come, and I'm gonna buy him a beer no matter what.
I'll listen to that, right?
Notice
I am
her-
technically too old for KWYP.
All right, thank you, Chris.
I was 40 the cutoff. I'm just curious.
Don't have discrimination.
40 and-
That's actually far enough in my.
Is it
rearview
look
mirror
40
right
and
now.
under or be 40?
I can't argue over 40. I'm staring down 47
We
here.
have an old people
That's it?
side too, like,
And when you're saying be
I think
geriatric,
that's how the
well,
realtor one does.
It should be a
Well, if you guys have any questions, I'll stick around, so everything's over.
Thanks, Chris.
Oh,
We have left.
we'll see, we'll see.
Yeah,
Working on
I
it.
have.
Price.
Mhm.
All right, Bert's gonna come up and chat with us, and then we've got sales awards and some giveaway prizes. Somebody gets cash.
Probably not.
All right, yeah, I know, right?
Bring some food, we'll work it out. DJ, he's the DJ.
No, I'm.
That's right.
The Panic Food Pantry, sorry.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Bert Lawson with Liberty Mutual Insurance. I need to see a lot of familiar faces, but also see a lot of new faces in here. So I'm a local agent. Our office is just right around the corner, down the highway a little bit, right near PNC Arena. So we do, auto, home, and life insurance. That's kind of our three specialties when it comes to Liberty Mutual. But the reason why I'm here is kind of talk a little bit about a National Association of Realtors NAR program that we have with Liberty Mutual. So the NAR and Liberty Mutual have a fantastic partnership that we've had 30 plus years, I think, correct. So with this partnership, and a lot of the agents here have already actually taken advantage of this, is actually we will pay for some referrals. Now, question, compliance is going to say, whoa, hold up now. You can't pay for referrals. Well, you pay for auto referrals, okay? So if you're working with Mr. and Mrs. Smith and working for a home, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is moving down from Minnesota, obviously they're gonna have to get their auto insurance switched over, right? Eventually. So this is kind of where you send Mr. and Mrs. Smith to us, and in return, we will pay you guys a $40 referral fee. And while we're working on their auto, we're gonna cross-sell and help them with their home and so forth, and go and help them out with all their needs when it comes to insurance, right? So that's kind of the big thing that we have. Do you have the slide?
Yes, I do.
Okay, there you go. So some advantages of the referral program is they get a 10% discount with the customer. You can see, well, the auto, better car replacement, multi-car discount with the auto insurance. And we also, at Liberty Mutual, we have a 12-month contract with our policies, instead of a lot of the other agencies have 6-month policies. So which means they're locked in for 12, the rate is not going to increase. As you see, what's the benefits of you guys? The referral fee for a complete auto quote. Here's the good thing about that we do not have to write the business. All you got to do is send it. We quote the auto. You guys are going to get the $40. So the question is, how do I get $40? I have some paperwork. You fill it out. You get a debit card in the mail. It's a prepaid debit card. So the whole month, let's just say for Annalee, would you get 120 last month?
Wow.
I've got 200 over the last couple of months.
Yeah. So it will accumulate for the whole month of September or whatever the month we're in. And then the 10th of the next month, it drops right into that debit card and you can spend it. Spend it any how you want. You can use it for marketing money, use it for gas money, use it to pay your NAR fees, whatever you want to use it for, it is yours. It's a Visa prepaid debit card. So like I said, it goes back to, we don't even have to write the business. Of course, we're going to try our best to write the business. We want to get them as a client, but we are going to do our best. But we're still going to get paid when it comes down to it, which is an awesome win-win situation for you guys. And then you can see all the opportunities. It's a great partnership when it comes to NAR. I know Bobby has got a few with the Ruby Anderson team as well. One thing we kind of go on that communication trail is communication is real big for me as well. Okay. All the agents who are part of this partnership, you guys can send me a text message. I get all the time. Like, I think the biggest one right now is flood. Is this house in a flood zone? And I get texts all the time that give me the address. We have a special site that we go to, look it up, and I can tell you yes or no, or say, you might want to, take a look and maybe see some, get a flood quote. Flood around here is pretty inexpensive. Go down towards the coast, it's going to be a lot higher. So that's the thing big with me is communication. So all the agents have my cell phone number. They can send me a text when it comes to any types of questions about, home insurance, like a swimming pool liability, trampoline liability, anything that stuff that comes up, please feel free to reach out to me as well. And a little added bonus, I know Raina's taken advantage of this several times. Someone tried to throw it out here. I am a DJ. So if you guys want a free DJ, holler at me and take care of you on any type of events and stuff as well. I know I'm not the look like the DJ Pauly D, but
Not 2 turntables and a microphone.
yeah, exactly. But I can throw it down. I can throw it down. So
Yeah, Bert just did an awesome job of DJing my blood drive and veteran networking event. It was really fun and we didn't even work on the music.
thank you.
Thanks.
Bert. Absolutely. Any questions? Anything? Yes, sir.
You provide clue reports.
Yes.
Can they get an auto quote for themselves and get $40?
Yeah, it don't matter who it is. Yeah, you can, it can be,
You're not.
We can provide a quote, you get the discount, but we can't offer.
Okay.
yeah. But like your family, your friends, anybody you send, we can do the 40.
Your parents, your kids, your
You
brother,
insure
your
the beach?
sister.
I'm sorry,
You insure the beach?
a whole state of North Carolina and South Carolina.
You like the whole like wind, fire, flood, and hail?
Yes,
Question,
yes.
how do you determine if a house has had too many polybutyl claims and some deemed uninsured?
Jim, you win the award for the most specific question.
Thank you, had that a long time.
I love the hard thank you. We do get a clear report, which shows, the loss history on there. Some companies don't even insure that old piping, so you've got to get it, remodeled, updated. We've got about 8, 9 different home carriers through right through, some substandard, but most people prefer carriers to touch that right now. So they're gonna have to pay them to fix them. Over a certain number of claims, most prefer company, please write it. So that's when we have to do the substandard market. But again, we have options. You can always go to repair plan, which is through the state, but that old piping, we don't see a lot of it anymore. It's rare. Downtown Raleigh, downtown older homes, you may see a lot of problems, but I think that was 20 years ago, they still.
96 was a problem.
Yeah, I think the civil lawsuits, I think, happened around that time.
17 years. But the reason why I brought that up is back years ago, when we first started selling houses, probably 15 years ago, 20 years ago, there was a house in Nightdale, Plymouth Walk, that called Beetle Pipe, and we went to let the house on the contract. Come to find out the lady had 3 claims instead of having it fixed. She had to go over with duct tape and take.
Oh my God.
and stuff. And so they beat the house uninsurable, and nobody was touching it.
All right. And the last one is what Anthony just mentioned. We do have multiple carriers as well. That's what a lot of it kind of sets us apart, not only being a local agent, but also we have multiple carriers. So if Liberty is not the right fit, I'm going to try to get them with the best company for that particular client. So, all right.
Thank
More
you, Bert.
questions? Thanks, Bert.
Thank you. We're gonna tear through sales awards and then give out a couple prizes, right?
First up is culture award.
Culture award. Where is it?
I don't think she's here. It's Jennifer.
Oh yeah, Jennifer Roberts. So we'll recognize her. Jennifer really pitched in and did a lot of help with the coaching program or before James started. So for probably 3 months or so, she was really, really helpful in that. So thanks, send Jennifer a text or Facebook message or something and tell her about her award.
All right.
And we had, so you guys know there was a hurricane that hit Louisiana again, and KW Cares gave, since 2002, we've given $49 million in grants to agents and their families. Total number of grants is almost 5,000 at this point, and total tithe. So the donations, I guess, I don't understand that one. Anyway, maybe regular donations or something like that, not at special events. So a lot of people don't know this. When Katrina hit New Orleans, Keller Williams gave more money to the region than all of NAR combined. So that's our culture. Think about when things like this happen, they need help, they need money. You can also donate regularly on your commission checks, even $1, $10, $5 out of every commission makes a huge difference. So hopefully none of us will ever need it, but isn't it nice knowing that you're with a company that if you did, and it can be medical emergencies, it can be house fires. It doesn't have to be a big natural disaster. Sometimes it's just a one-off thing that affects one agent. And we've been part of getting probably 3 or 4 grants. Sharon and I have written grant applications for it. So, and the money gets in your account like that. They wire it in within a day. So it's a pretty cool thing. Think about contributing. Real quick, bold coming up. This is live bold. So this is at least they're telling us at this point, it's gonna be real in-person bold. Week starts week of the 25th.
Yep.
And our ALC, look at all these good looking people. I don't think
Yeah, just the donation drive is still going on. Our first pickup is tomorrow, and this is gonna be ongoing. So it's going on every single month. So just, if you're going to the store, pick a little bit something extra up. Someone Instacarted some donations this
cool.
week, so you don't even have to go in the store yourself. If you want, we can add stuff to your monthly bill. So if you want to make a monetary donation, you can do that as well. And thank you to everyone who's donated this month. It's overflowing now, which is amazing. And so let's just keep that up for the upcoming month.
Isn't it amazing to think there are hungry, especially hungry kids, like within a mile of this office right now? It's just amazing to think about that to me. So.
Yeah, these folks are in North Hills area. The
Mhm.
elementary school
Yes, the
in this
people
area.
going to this food bank live around here.
And they have 80 children, families, and they'd like to do more. They have 80 families signed up.
It's a
So,
great group of people.
yeah, they
You
are.
can ask your
They're so
clients-
thankful.
you can ask your clients if you have clients.
Be a good
that's
pop
a
by,
way to
right?
Reach out to your clients.
Yeah.
The sphere of influence and get back in touch with them and ask them for a donation.
Do Popeyes and pick up donations.
In fact, James Myers is gonna be doing a video on that, just to how to bolster your business
gotten
with a
to do it?
win-win. Huh?
You got to do it.
I did. It wasn't hard at all. He said, sure. So we're working that out. And I'll just mention it off the cuff to a client. We were passing by North Raleigh Ministries showing, and she said, oh, your firm's doing that? Next time you pick, she's blind. And so the next time you pick me up, I'll have something for you. She filled up the entire back of my Prius. So our clients really want to help with this. So, I think Sharon's point is great, just, use it as a win-win and show.
I'm happy to be part of such a generous, helpful group of people. I think it's really cool. So.
All right.
All right. Boom, I think we got that.
Yeah. Just what's going on.
So you guys are crushing it, basically. This office is outperforming the MLS in every metric, in some cases by triple digits. So the whole MLS is writing 58% less units than the same time last year. And you all are writing 115% more units than the same time last year. Closed sales units, the MLS is up 4%, you're up 128%. Closed sales volume, they're up 19%, you're up 127%. Listings taken units, the MLS is down 1%, you're up 114%. So pretty successful group of people here. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Quick update on the market. New listings up only 1.5%. This is August 2020 compared to August 2021. Under contract sales down 5.5%. Days on market went from 24 to 9, down 62%. Median sales price up 15%, up from 304 to 351. Average sale price up 14% from 351 to 403. Percent of original list price received up 4.8% to now 104% of asking price. Percent of listing price received is 104% also. Inventory of homes for sale last August was 5,736. Guess what it was this August? 2,978, down 48%. So go back to the previous slide real quick. So now take that into consideration and look at what you're doing. The agents in our market center are doing this in a market where everything else is down.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So I think you guys should give yourselves a round of applause. What do we have here?
These are just some of our new agents. I don't know if any of them are actually in here. They might be online. But yeah, just welcome. Some of them are some of our admins, and then the rest are just some new agents.
All right.
right,
These are all of our
Michigan.
cappers for this week.
Sylvan.
Not this week, this month. Yeah, killing it. Leah,
Kruger up in Wake Forest.
Janelle,
Gina Winston.
And then these are some of the people who had their first listings and their
With us,
first
means
with
they were
us,
with
yes.
us, yeah.
So first listings and first closings. So congratulations to
Nina's here in
everybody.
the back.
Nina,
Congratulations.
yay. So yeah, it's awesome.
And first closing with us.
Mhm.
Is here. Awesome.
Okay, now for the awards number.
All right, so $1 million club. So these agents and teams closed over $1 million. Who's on that list?
Oh,
Got it.
yes.
Here, so I'll keep this. Thank you. All right, Amy Bush, Carolina Homeland Partners, Damon Vaughn, Erica Sizemore, Four Keys Realty, Homes by Hector Vega, Janelle Morton, John Strike, Karen Foster, Michelle Melvin, Mona Hall, Rupert Bryan, Sylvan Dufour, Ruby Henderson team, 220 agents, and the Clark team. Congratulations. Millionaire real estate agents.
All right.
Way to go. What do we have next?
You're our top producer.
Thank you. All right, so our top individuals, number one, Amy Bush. This is for closed sales volume. So Amy Bush with KW Commercial, Erica Sizemore, number 2, Sylvan Dufour, number 3, Mona Hall, number 4, way to go. Damon Vaughn, number 5, Rupert Bryan, number 6, John Strike, number 7, Michelle Melvin, number 8, Janelle Morton, number 9, and Jamie Amadon, number 10. Way to go. Top teams, Homes by Hector Vega, number 1, Morgan Womble Group, number 2, number 3, Team Ohana, and number 4, thispropertyavailable.com. And top groups, the 220 agents, number 1, and they were number 2 in the region, by the way, for the month of August as well, out of almost 10,000 agents. The Clark team, number 2, Ruby Henderson team, number 3, Four Keys Realty, number 4, Carolina Homeland Partners, number 5, and Dreams to Reality, number 6. Thank you.
You can just move the certificate because I think I just put everyone who's actually here.
Here,
So,
okay.
Yeah. Wait a moment.
And then these are for closed units. Number
Those are
1, Eric
Everyone who's
Jackson.
actually here.
Way to go. Number 2, Terry Robinson. Number 3, Daniel. Oh, these are team members. Sorry, team members that are top closed units. Eric Jackson, number 1, Terry Robinson, number 2, Daniel Barag, number 3, Bobby Durrani, number 4, Alden Lawrence, number 5, Annalie Bergson, number 6, Camille Washington, number 7, Fulton Crowley, number 8, Katie Lino, number 9, Lindsay Jackson, number 10, Margie Burns, number 11, Randy Young, number 12, and Tom Beatty, number 13.
All right.
Now it's time to give some
Yes,
stickers.
now it's time for.
So everybody that was on time got a ticket.
So we are doing a raffle for 1 where you are sitting. So that's why if you got my email, it was to choose your seat wisely. 2, if you donated to our food drive, and I know I got you and Katrina, so I think you guys, did anybody else donate today? Did you? Okay. We'll do that last then. So we'll do a raffle for that, and then just 1 for being present. So that's why if you're on time at 11:05 and got a ticket.
That's on time for realtors.
Yeah.
I would have made it 11,
Yeah.
but
So
1 person would have gotten a ticket.
we will do the seat first. Oh, someone's ticket fell out. All right. And I have seating charts if you don't know where you're sitting. Okay, 43. So that is row 4, and that is on this side. So
It's like Battleship.
huh? Oh, this is for the seat you're in. So Jim, it looks like you won. Nice. So another little stir. Okay, so this is for your ticket. All right, 966239. Yay!
What were those prizes? What do they get?
So
Let me know.
we have,
And then this is, which one's this one for?
so I think we decided to put for
This is for the big, this is for the,
The big one.
Mark just won this,
Yep,
$50.
$50.
Right.
And Jim, you have your choice, Starbucks or Target? Target, alrighty. So then if you, if you donated, and I'll get your ticket in there too real quick. So you guys will win a Starbucks gift card as well. So there's only 3 white tickets in here, so we'll see who gets this one. Let's see what one was there. Alright.
It's just like Powerball on TV. Just like Powerball on TV.
Katrina! Yay! All for being present for our meeting. What we are going to start doing is the $50 by seating. So if we call that and someone's not in that seat, it's gonna roll over to next month and then the pot's gonna get $50 bigger. So make sure you're coming up to meetings, you're sitting in your seat because we're doing it at the end, all right?
Have a great day.
It's just you can get chastised by the commission, the agency can get chastised by their private. But it's still effective. Well, right, but I don't want somebody to just sell it like, oh, this isn't valid, we're good. Like they wanted to back out. Like, oh, yeah, that's totally what you have to do.
Right, but the problem is, my license officer, I don't even want to have that debate. The other thing is, we last, franchise industry. It's really, I was just seeing somebody else. I mean, you know, it's the work.
So we usually have one with headers and footers. I can send you one.
You must send me one because I uploaded it out private Facebook page because they keep telling so I know
So Sydney's, I guess not, it was just. I did the one that the last one that you sent me, but I guess it just wasn't.
Yeah, and it looks like there's 2 PowerPoints open. Oh, you want to start?
Yeah. Oops.